Hey, what's up? Welcome to this video. I'm sure you were looking for a website page that had a picture of me and all the nice things I've done in this lifetime. And something very unique about myself is when others zig, I zag. I always have approached life differently from other people, and I thought instead of a web page with all this nice information about me, I would actually talk to you. I'd share who I am, what I do, what I've done in the past, and what I'm passionate about. Because number one, now you're able to sense me, my energy, and you're able to hear this authenticity and alignment in my voice. And those are all good indicators of who I am and what I do and how I can help you. But it's for you to decide. And for that, let's get started. I think something very unique about me is I'd say my passions are metaphysics, it is curiosity and exploration, and it's also collaborations because I carry so many gifts, and that is something very unique about myself. But something that I can't do is I can't use my gifts unless I have other people to collaborate with. And then when we get curious and we explore how we can help one another, that's the true magic of what I do and how I help people. Is I can never give you a definite path of this is how I'll help you, because one of my key, I'd say, superpowers is my presence. And I don't have to do anything and I don't have to figure anything out. All I have to do is find a person in front of me that is open to working with me. And then we start to collaborate and we start to have conversations that aren't based on agendas. They're very intuitive, and they start to form from the second we start talking. And then over time, we start to identify how we can work together and how we can help one another. And that's what excites me most, is simply just collaborating with conscious creators and impact-driven entrepreneurs to create a better world. And though money is important, it's a very important aspect of this 3D reality. Something that I've seen more is vulnerability, love, trust, and connection generate so much wealth for myself and those who choose to play by those rules or get curious as how we can expand those words into wealth in many different forms. And I think this eclectically kind of connects to my background. Is, I grew up on a 20 acres in the middle of Kansas in the smallest town, and then ended up getting a life science biology degree at Ottawa University, and ended up going to a 1-year nursing, accelerated nursing RN BSN program at the University of St. Mary's, and wanted to help people and really, really was passionate about helping people. And then I realized, as 3.5 years in healthcare, from pediatrics to adults in kidney, liver transplant, rehab medicine, hematology, oncology, is everything they taught us in school for nursing was to pass a test, and everything that they actually was the foundation of it, of primary prevention and education, wasn't allowed, because how could a system make money off of people that were actually healthy instead of sick and opportunistic? And when I realized that, I was halfway through graduate school getting my nurse practitioner degree, and the theme that hit me really hard was, I can't create an impact in the world through enabling people in their worst moments. Because, for instance, I remember seeing a bill from somebody's hospital stay at a hospital I was working at in Kansas City that's a very well-known pediatric one, and it was like $40 for Tylenol. And these parents are in here with their kids who aren't feeling good, their life's stressful, and here's me walking in charismatic and nice and giddy and very bubbly with my energy, and I'm like, can I help your child feel better? And they're like, yes. And then a parent brought it up to me and was like, the Tylenol is $40. Can we bring our own? And I'm like, yes, please. And the day I realized that was the day I started getting out of healthcare and started to find another solution. And to me, that was media, messaging, and emotional connection. Because truly, if you look at the world, media companies, I do believe, run the world through what I call conditioning. And it's not the best conditioning. If you look at the movies that are for children, they always have the theme of fear in them. Next time you watch Netflix, pay attention to what this video embodies. It's fear. So we're teaching kids fear at a young age through media sources that are put out there to, entertain them. But really, what is it doing at the core level? It says fear. I mean, it clearly states it out there. So when you think about this, a lot of aspects in life that showcase that they're here to help you, I do believe that they're here to hurt you. And part of my method in living that as a nurse and then going to grad school and being like, this system is messed up, what I did is I took the initiative to learn video, photo, editing, marketing, YouTube, podcasting. I essentially have the last 7 years self-taught myself media marketing, branding, because when you can put out a message that is very clear and very concise, it will resonate with people. You don't have to run ads if you're in authenticity and alignment, right? But also, if you have a story and you can share that story very eclectically through storytelling, you can actually market and brand and create more connections through emotional connection than you can with any perfect script and all this other jazz. And it's in simply identifying that I was like, if I can learn how to create a message, put myself out there, have people hear it, and create an impact, I have all the power in the world I need to create the change. And that's what I did. And now what I want to do is invite people into my funnel, which is called the channel. And currently for 2026 through 2028, we're only taking 12 people because I'm looking for these conscious creators, these impact drivers, these people that endlessly put their clientele and impact first and forget about themselves. Because I was one of these people too, and like trying to build a personal brand and working with 3 to 8 clients a month and an agency side, I'm like, I had the choice of like money or personal brand. And it would tend to be this path of like, all right, let's just do all the work, make the money, and that would buy me time back for about a month or two. And then I was back at zero and had to rebuild. And it was just this game of like, make money, personal brand, make money, personal brand, make money, personal brand. And I identified a really big problem in my life and found others who had that problem. And what I realized is these people are so motivated and disciplined and they love what they do. They're impact-driven, conscious creators, endlessly helping the person in front of them. And I thought it would be a great idea to come behind them and support them with a support team where they could endlessly help the people they're helping, but then we're able to help them promote themselves and put their brand up on a level where everything that they do now is impacted through them and the people they serve. Because one of my deepest shadows was I endlessly put other people first and forgot about myself. But then like they teach us on the airplanes and all these other models, it's like, you know, if you're on the airplane and the oxygen mask drops down, if you go and try to help everybody else, you're going to help 1 or 2 people and pass out from hypoxia because you don't have enough oxygen. But from the start, if you're selfish and you put on your mask, you can help everybody around you safely without passing out. And that's what I've seen in this model is by these people are endlessly helping everybody in front of them that they're forgetting about themselves. But if we come behind you and support you with a team that stands behind me, now we're stacking bodies and we're creating a system that everybody is eclectically being helped. The founder's able to help their community. We're able to help the founder who is a great voice in this world that we need to put out there and create a personal brand, which is a platform that they can build upon for the rest of their life. And it's through this eclectic model, if you're still with me here, of how I think we can create the greatest change and impact in the world. You have impact-driven, conscious creators creating, but they burn out. And it's like now we're able to help them create the content, these systems, the infrastructure, so that they can always put out their message. And we're just the creative agency in their pocket that is willing to only help 12 people for the next 2 years. And I think the next question probably popping into your mind is like, why? What does this help you with, Chris? And you know, my biggest why for this, for me personally, is I know I'm going to space in this lifetime, and it's been shown to me in so many different ways, and it excites me. And I do believe too in this, what are they called, predator-prey models, which is symbiotic relationships are important, because what I see is as I help 12 people create a change and create an impact in the world, I'm creating an impact in the world too. So as I help them, they help me. And through this system, I have no idea how I end up in space, how I build a deep space exploration company, because I don't need to know the how. I need to find the who. From Dan Sullivan, one of my favorite books, it's the who, not the how. And I took that to heart, and it's like I found these people, they're gifted, I see them, and I want to create with them. And in knowing that I help you, and you help me, we're both going to get to our completion point in this life. And I think that's what it's all about. So my biggest what and why in this, and number 2, I didn't mention this, is one of my goals in this lifetime is very, what's the word for that? I have very high expectations for myself. And my biggest goal in this lifetime is to create 1 million millionaires, which sounds excessive. You're like, how? But I know from biology, from bacteria and mushrooms and all this life that's around us that I studied for 4 years is, one person cannot create 1 million millionaires. But if one person creates 12 millionaires and they know the system and they learn it and they embody it and they teach it, those 12 people are connected to 12 more people, and then those 12 people are connected to 12, and it creates the ripple effect, or we're able to impact so many people by starting in our own backyard or starting in our own sector. And what do I mean by that is, like, a lot of times too, like in the US, we're like, oh, we got to help Gaza, or we got to help all these other countries. And then in Austin, Texas, where I live, I look around and I'm like, there's a ton of homeless people, there's a ton of starving people, there's a ton of people that we could directly impact and help in our backyard. And we're worried about a country, across the ocean versus, start in your backyard. Find the people directly around you, your friends, your community, the people that you can directly impact and impact them, and create such a change and a shift in them that they're able to impact the people around them. And then once they impact those people and create a change, then they're able to impact them. So in order to create the greatest change in the world through so many different levels, I've realized that I want to help the people directly around me. So that's what I'm doing. And it's finding people just like you who take the time to watch this video. And when they go to a video page, they're like, wait, I thought this was going to be a picture and him talking about himself, but instead he's sharing who he is, what he does, how he wants to impact the world, and how we can be a part of it, And that's the ethos of who I am, is like the people who take the extra time to witness and experience me. I take the extra time and effort to help and assist them and witness them and experience them, because I think eclectically when we do that, we create the greatest impact in the world, and that impact is palpable. We don't have to talk about it. We're actually embodying it and living it, and by doing that, we're creating the greatest impact and change that this world needs by simply being ourselves and connecting with others like us through a common interest and sharing this information with the rest of the world as we grow this network, or we grow this ecosystem that starts somewhere and ends up everywhere, because that is the true essence of virality in its most positive aspect, or algorithmic log phases and growth. It's just like, if you impact somebody so much, they'll start to share it, and they start to share it, and they start to share it, and they start to share it. And before you know it, everybody's embodying it because it created a new way starting right next to you. Instead of saying, oh, we got to solve the world's problems before we can solve our own. When you solve your own, you start to solve the problems of those around you, and then they solve the problems of everybody around them. So as a whole, that is my ethos. That is who I am. This is a really cool system, and I'm excited to anybody who wants to be a part of it. Along with that, I also have open source renders on my website. This is something that just really excites me. It landed in my lap, and what I've been using is Whisper Flow, which is already vibe coded for vibe coding, which I found out last night, which is super cool. So essentially, it helps you create vibe code, which is what we do at part of the agency in building sites and landing pages and digital ebooks and digital products. We're able to use Whisper Flow in Google Gemini 3 currently when I'm filming this. And this all just happened. It landed in my lap, and I got really curious and started playing with it. And I realized I was creating some really cool visionary renders. And I've had this realization, and I've really owned it and embodied it now, is that I'm a visionary and a builder, more 60-40 or 80-20. I'd say 80% visionary, 20% builder. But something I love to do is endlessly I have these thoughts and ideas land in my mind, and I haven't been able to share them because I share them with my words, and I'm like, it just doesn't hit. I'm telling people what I'm seeing, but they're not seeing it and they're not feeling it. And then the magical thing happened. I linked Whisper Flow to Google Gemini 3 and Canvas and Gemini 3, and I'm able to share my mind through channeling, which is me just speaking through the messages landing in it. I'm able to share it through Whisper and then create a visual render of it through Google Gemini. And when I started creating these, I was like, oh, these are dope. I got to do something with these. And I started to feel selfish and was like, I'm going to hold on to these. And it felt so wrong and icky immediately. And I got curious and was like, what can I do with these? And it landed in me. It was like, share them with the world. Share them with the world openly. I am the channel. I am the messenger, which means I'm the visionary who has this stuff land in him. And I'm meant to share it with the world. So that's what we're going to do. Currently, right now, the website is launched and up. We got version 1 out just to have a working MVP so we can see all the problems. But the next upgrade is we're going to be dropping the codes in these, like the actual code, the vibe code of the renders you see on the website. You are going to have access to those, because what I want you to do is interact with them, and if you see value in them, take the code and recreate them or extend them through your own lens. That is the true essence of open source conscious creation and collaboration. And I feel like I want to be a really big driver of this in my life. I don't feel that. I know I'm a huge driver of this in my life. Is with having all these gifts and all these talents and all these skills, I can be selfish and hoard them for myself, or I can share them with the world, and that's what I'm meant to do. So that's what I'm doing. So that's a huge part. If you guys haven't seen the renders currently on my site, they're called OSR, so Open Source Renders version 1. We don't have the code up. We're still figuring out that problem, but once we do, please download them. If you guys see a render and you like it and the code section download's not up yet, shoot me a DM, shoot me an email. I will happily send them over to you. It's very simple to share. With the logistics of websites, we're still figuring it out. But it's going to be beautiful. And then another thing I'm doing on the site is I once had somebody tell me I'd be an author and write many books in my life. And I remember telling this guy, I was like, absolutely not. But I'm curious, when it happens, I'll lean into it. And then it happened. On January 1st, I started using Whisper Flow to channel ideas and thoughts that I've embodied in this lifetime. And I realized I was writing a book, and I use AI to assist me in structure and format, which is not my strong suit. More of intuitive channel creation and messaging is. And I was able to create different books. And these books are currently called manuals on the website, and they're interactive, immersive ebooks. Because I was like, well, if I'm releasing a book, there's something about me that's very unique too, is I don't like to do what everybody else does. I like to be a novelty. I like to be unique. I like to be innovative. I like to be futuristic and recreate simple things through my own life, but still honor the simplicity. So the manuals are ebooks. That's another word for it, but I wanted to lean into the space theme, right? So the manuals are these interactive, immersive ebooks that have different audios and frequency tones, so that you can take something like this, these headphones, and you can be as present as you want with these. And like, for instance, you know, when you put on the headphones, you can activate the codes and listen, and you're like, whoa, like every chapter has a different sound and a frequency that resonates with it, right? And when you're scrolling, different graphics and stuff are immersively pulling you in, and there's different reasons for this as well. Number 2 is like, you're hearing the sound, now you're getting pulled in by the graphics that are immersive, plus you're more present and it's applying to everything you're learning. And then the text in these books are very simple. That is the essence of what I wanted to create, was how can I create such an impact through the absolute simplicity, where people can expand on it how they wish, but they're taking it from the root and growing it, rather than limiting themselves with a ceiling or a false belief based on what they think they're being taught. And this was also with, I know people are attracted to me, and it's why you're able to follow me in such a non-linear way, is, you know, everybody who's around me has ADHD. It's a bunch of founders. It's a bunch of, you know, mystics. It's a bunch of creators. It's a bunch of psychics. It's a bunch of people who are multifaceted creators, multi-passionate, have many gifts, and I wanted to consciously help them expand their ADHD, because ADHD is one of my superpowers. It hurt me for so long, and then I met this guy, Spencer Burnett, and he taught me how to work with it, and it completely changed my life. And then I saw the value in ADHD, and on these immersive books, and even on my site, I honor ADHD. I'm like, here's a bunch of things for your conscious mind to focus on, so that we can just endlessly dump and integrate this information into your subconscious and immediately have it available and ready. And that was my greatest intention with creating these manuals or ebooks, was to simply create simplicity and ease and very valuable knowledge for people who took the time to be present. The more present you are, the more you absorb it. And the more you absorb it, the more you can integrate it and apply it to your reality. And we also called these manuals because this portion of the site, I wanted it to be manuals that other people could apply to their communities and stuff, back to the open sourcing. And we'll create download links and PDFs and hard copies of these too, as like, you know, similar to other books in our lifetime that have been seen as life manuals. I wanted to create these life manuals that could be, you know, applicable to your environment, your life, your relationships, your friendships, your communities, your brands, everything that you're meant to create in this life. I wanted these to be more than just books. I wanted them to be manuals of life and allow you to learn the absolutes so that you could apply it to every aspect of your life. And I think with that being said, I feel pretty complete, and we're 19 minutes in here. So thank you for your patience on watching this video and feeling the essence of who I am and what I do and how I create. And thank you for taking the time to watch this instead of clicking on a page and seeing a picture of me and sharing who I am and what I do with words versus, experiencing me, seeing me, feeling me, connecting with me digitally. So when we connect through a conversation or personally or, physically in reality, we can already be through the first stage of getting to know each other, and we can start creating with one another. We can actually lean into vulnerability, trust, love, connection, and start consciously creating and impacting the world through what we're guided to share and collaborating with one another to create the greatest impact on this earth. So, gosh, thank you so much. And if you made it this far in the video, shoot me an email. It is chrisdouglascreative@gmail.com. Or if you shoot me a text message, my phone number is 913-909-0320. And shoot me a text message. Say you made it to the end of this video. That'll give you way more leverage than reaching out on any other source. And honestly, text message is the best way to communicate with me. If you made it this far in the video, you'll find that out. And if you're working with me currently and you see this video now, you'll also know that. But as a whole, guys, thank you so much for finding this website. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and learning more about me. And I'm excited next to learn about you and how we can consciously create and impact the world together through conscious creation and simply doing what we love every moment of the day with those we love to create a better world for everybody that we love. So peace out. Talk soon. Thank you so much. Let's create some impact.